Well, a warm welcome to everyone joining us for this European Predator Championships here in Assen, Netherlands. You're joining us on day 7 of this 9-day event. And this is the last 16 of the 55 plus seniors 8-ball event. And as you've just seen from the lag there, this match between Henrique Correa and Durk Schwiedes. Race to 7. And Durk winning the lag here. We are kicking off the last 16 of all 3 disciplines, or rather of the 8-ball here, the 45 plus seniors men's and the men's 55 plus seniors, and also with the ladies last 16 kicking off as well on our other TV table with my colleague Arya. So 2 tables being streamed to you today for this EPBF European Pool event. Players on a 30-second shot clock. 1 extension per rack. Durk to break. Well, got a good spread, but a dry break. And that brings Henrique to the table. Not an easy opener for him, but looks like he's going to call the 7 in the middle. The cue ball coming down into traffic, so riding his luck a little bit here. How is his luck? Wow. There may be a gap through to that 1 ball. He's having a good inspection of it. Otherwise, I think he's just not run far enough to consider the 4 or the 6 into that left center pocket. So has he got a gap? Our camera angle suggests so. Couldn't do too much with the cue ball, but didn't need to. Thin cut on the 3 into this corner. Ooh, he's just overcut that. And I'm not sure Durk was expecting to come out of his seat there. Henrique came out all guns a-blazing. But Durk is back at the table. As you can see from our overhead, he's not really got an open shot here. So he's got to look at a safety, and that 3 ball will put a bit of a spanner in the works. So giving this a close inspection, you may hear our referee in the background calling time. Well, looks like he's calling a cross bank into the corner pocket. Miscued it. Well, felt he had to play aggressive there. And that missed 3 ball, giving Henrique a little bit of a Brucey bonus, forcing Durk into making something happen. And yeah, miscue. Well, he's given Henrique a look at a combo here. He's played it softly. I don't know if he wanted the 3 to follow it in. As you can see from this angle, even though Henrique stepped in the way, his options are very much limited here. So, yeah, good combination. Just hit it that little bit too hard, and the second ball followed it into the pocket. Well, Clearly the cut wasn't on. Henrique has put the cue ball up against this short rail, and again, Durk hasn't really got much and not really a good view of the cue ball. So looking to do something with this cluster of 2 here. And he may have played this very, very well. Is there a gap? If there isn't, that's a great position for the cue ball there. Would force Henrique to jump, but there's a gap. Looks like a long, straight 4. Kept down on the shot, nice. Difficult when the cue ball is that close to the cushion. No, he missed this ball, a cut into this pocket earlier in this rack. Maybe playing on his mind. And a little bump on the 10. Needs to be careful here for position on the 8 ball. As you can see from the overhead, there's a lot of traffic. Maybe looking to screw it to where he is now. And off the cushion, off the long rail. Oh, he's played it very well into the middle of the table. Not the easiest, but as you can tell, he's left-handed. Will that help? No. He's going to have to... He had to lean there. Makes it very difficult. I don't know if he has an extension for his cue, but stretching over the table there really did increase the difficulty of that shot. Now, Durk Schwieders, our German, with an open table. He will be looking to run these balls and get his momentum going. The last few visits he didn't really have an opportunity, and Henrique's gifted him one here. But any miss, you feel, with that 8 ball over the pocket. So an added bit of pressure. Yep, played that well, just needed to bring the cue ball back towards the center of the table. The only difficulty here is that the 15 and I believe that's the 13 that are down in the quadrant of the table towards the 8 ball will mean he needs to come around the back of them and pick a different pocket. He's doing that now, and he's finished lovely. Just looking at where he wants to bring the cue ball through to. May choose to leave a straight shot into the center pocket. Left himself a little angle. Well, Henrique will be kicking himself a bit there. He really did have the match in his hands, and I didn't feel he was under any time pressure to take that 8 ball. And as we see, Durk left with a relatively simple 8-ball. And always useful to be the player to get off the mark, and more importantly, to hold his break. This event is alternate break. So we will get our opportunity to see Henrique Correa from Portugal take his first break. And as we've seen in a few of the matches in the build-up to this, those mastering the break early and running out with the break really have been able to ask a question of their opponent's break. So very much an important part here. Oh, the cue ball was tracing towards that corner pocket. It got a nudge, and he's made one in the center pocket. So he's back to the table. However, I think he's only left with a tricky 3 in the middle. From this angle, there is an 11 into the middle, but I think if this 2-ball isn't in the way, he's going to have to go solids. I'd have to say he was quite fortunate with his break there. The cue ball was certainly tracking towards the corner pocket. But even though he was forced to take solids, they're not in a bad position, you know. Oh, it just rubs the knuckle on these predator tables that are playing well. The pockets are a bit tighter. Now, the 2-ball, the blue 2 at the bottom of the stack here, does have a left pocket to go for. And that should, by the looks of it, open up that 8-ball. So there is a path to success here for him in this visit. Is he looking at a long 5 into the corner? Yeah, it punches the cue ball over. Yeah, I'm maybe looking for position on this 6 to just come off the short rail and bounce back up for the 2. Or maybe even take the 2 at this opportunity. He's played that very well. And as you can see from this angle, that 8-ball looks like it goes in this corner pocket where he's putting the 6-ball now. A little shake of the head, he's stretching again. I do like the cool look of these rests. Every option for the player there. Now, his closing pattern. Will he choose to get shape off the 1? Or will he take the 1-ball now? Oh, that's tight, that 8-ball. He may need to come round the back of it. It looks tighter the more I look at it. So, clearly there wasn't an orthodox way to get shape on the 8. Big shot. Well, he's got himself into an awful position here. Wow, he's played a great shot. He's made a cushion and he's hit the 8 ball, and the cue ball has run up against the cushion. So, oh, there is an easy stripe into the center. This could be the chance Durk needs. Yep. Not too much to do there, but how is his angle on the 10? Looks like he's got a bit. If he can punch the cue ball up, be looking to take the 9. Does have the other 2 of his backups into that corner pocket by the looks of it, in case he overruns. Just a little added pressure of time you may have picked up in the background there. Made the shot just overrun. Just get into grips with the pace of the cloth on this TV table, running a little bit quicker maybe than the other tables they've played on in this arena. Well, he's played it well and left himself in top position here. Just a gentle run through with the cue ball, and he'll breathe a little sigh of relief there after Henrique had a great break. It looked like he was going to run away with a break and run. But as we saw in the first rack, they were giving the odd chance to each other, and Henrique's given the chance to Durk. So he takes a 2-rack lead and will get the break. Well, Durk looking at a 2-0, 2-0 lead rather, and the dream of starts for him as he gets down for his second break. Oh, and as it looked like with Henrique's, his cue ball has traced into that corner pocket. He did make a ball, but I have to say, that is not what he wanted. Henrique, with ball in hand, has elected to take solids. So, Henrique handing back. The cue ball to Durk at a time when he really needed to not let him back to the table. Is that blue 2 going to cause him a bit of trouble down there? Well, we'll get to see that, but Henrique was looking like he was going to take the opportunity of bringing this back to 2-1. However, Durk again back at the table. He may be able to bump the 10 ball here. Oh, he's come up behind it, and he has done that indeed. Needed to do that. Well, he made a great pot. He's gonna need to take this 12 ball, and if he goes for the center pocket, he's going to run the risk of colliding with this 8 ball, so bit of danger. He's played a safety off the 1 ball there, not a bad play at this point of the match. 2-3 rail escape here. Oh, he just slides off of it and makes a rail. Great shot, but does give Henrique a good look at this blue too. Didn't fancy it before. Played a good safety off the 1, but Durk responding. I think Durk's remaining strike will be covering that 7 ball into the corner pocket. Well, as he left himself an angle on this 7, would be a great shot if he has done. I don't think he has from our overhead. You may be able to tell better at home. So, nope. Looks as if, yeah, with the hand coming up, I think he played that in a way that he wanted to leave that 1 ball over the corner pocket and cover Durk's strike with the 8 ball, which he's done. I think there's an edge. However, with an edge, there's a corner pocket looming, so be interesting to see how much of this ball Durk can see, and if he elects to go 2 rails, he's going at it. He's called the bank onto the 1, potted the 1, got that half of what he was looking for, but has left a relatively easy 7. And Henrique will be happy with this. As he pots the 8 ball to bring the scoreline back to 2-1. And in fairness, they've both made their fair share of mistakes. However, they've both got the look about them that they can break and run. Henrique falling a little foul of his response to a Durk dry break by just snookering himself, or rather covering himself on the 8 ball. Maybe with his break working, if he can avoid the scratch, he can have another look at it. So 2-1 in the race to 7 in this alternate break. Henrique Correa from Portugal to break, trailing 2 frames to 1. Yep. Much better break, better control of the cue ball, and has made 2 balls in opposite corner pockets. And a good spread of the balls. Does have options. The stripes do look like the easiest starter. However, he may feel solids are more looking in his favour. Ooh, golden stripes, and the cue ball has hugged up against this 10 ball. Limits Henrique's options. Well, good pot that brings the cue ball over to his side of the table. Yep. Good solid long pot. Left himself a couple of nice stop shots. Played it delicate. Yep, electing to come across for the 8 in the opposite corner. Very good, made short work of that. That is our first break and run. Impressive stuff. Alternate break though, so Durk gets the chance to return the favour. If any of our canny viewers have been watching in any of the preceding days in this 9-day event, you will have got to have seen Durk on the TV table. I had the pleasure of commentating one of his earlier matches, and he certainly doesn't seem to be fazed by any pressure. However, he'll be looking to just take a bit of momentum out of Henrique's stride here. Looking to keep his hand on the table with his break shot. Quite straight, just off the center of the table. And, ooh, well, it forever and a day looked like that 15 was going to drop in the center pocket. However, it hasn't. And will that be the difference? Just little rolls of the ball can change or maintain momentums in this game. And with that 15 over the center pocket, it looks like Henrique is going to elect stripes here. Got a little cluster around the 8 ball there, so he'll be giving it a bit more of an inspection. It's just inside the knuckle there, that 15, so treat this with gloves. Decided to hit it with a bit of force and just bring the cue ball back. Oh, and there's a gap. Not sure if you could see all the pocket, but he played it in off the edge. And he got a lovely little nudge on the 11 there, so that's really opened up this pattern for him. Yep. Has choices. Little angle on the 10, come across. Play the green stripe into the center. And then it will have to be the 9, as it looks like it's covering the red 11 there. Needs a little bit of an angle. Didn't avoid the kiss. Maybe needed to get into it a little bit more. Did get the kiss. Has an angle. Maybe not into this pocket, but certainly into the other corner pocket. There is a very good chance, though, that cue ball will either be running safe or into this corner pocket as you look. The left-hand corner pocket from where we're looking now. Looks like he's going to take on the cut. Ooh, he wasn't taking on the cut. He was going to play it off the 6. Maybe the clock was just playing a little bit on his mind there. And as we've seen, a little bit of a recurring pattern so far, the other opponent is getting a chance. Maybe only one, but they are getting another chance at the table. And in this case, not many opponents' balls left on the table for him to get in the way, so Good opportunity from Durk. Just come around the back of the 7 there, very nicely. And again, Henrique's stripe, as you can see at home, blocking a few options for Durk. The 2 and the 5 could present him with a bit of a problem further into this run. Awkward cueing. Yep, played it pocket speed. Didn't need to do too much. Now he's going to maybe look for a good angle on the 1 ball after this 4, but is there a good reason to take the 1 now? Well, 6 passes. Still, that 5 is obscuring the 2. Possibly too much for him to get good shape. Ooh, this is a tight shot. Yeah, very tight on these predator tables. Playing lovely, but also tight. Henrique back to the table, not with an obvious shot, or does it pass the 2? Couple of options for safety with the cue ball here, leaving it on this short rail at the bottom of the table as you're looking at it now. Well, he's made the call of the bank shot, and he's made the pot. May have heard a few claps in the background there. That was a fantastic shot. Needed to use some tools as well. Finished lovely on the 8 ball. Long shot up the cushion. Oh, and Henrique's up quick. He knew that was in the moment he hit the 8 ball. And what a swing, ladies and gentlemen. Durk maybe rode his luck a little bit, but took a commanding 2-0 lead. And Henrique turning that around and riding some momentum to take his first lead in the match at 3-2. And I have to say, looking the better player right now and asking some good questions from Durk. I did mention Durk doesn't seem to be fazed by the pressure, but it looks like Henrique really does like to ride on a wave. So Durk breaking from the center of the table, or just rather slightly off center, with his hand on the cushion. Henrique, hand on the table, not far off center. Really getting better control of the cue ball. Made the 2 in the corner pocket. And from our overhead, looks like he has a very easy look at getting into the stripes here, unless he feels that solids are the better option. And I don't think he can see the 4 past the 8 there, so not really an easy opener on the solids. We may see Henrique taking stripes here, but a good break. He's popped that out nice. You can see the 14, the green stripe up near the middle pocket. That might end up being a better help for him than hindrance. He's just floated the cue ball lovely round there. May elect to try and Just run into the 10 of potting the 14 in the middle here. We'll have the 9 as a backup. A little bit risky. Maybe didn't want to have as much angle on this. Yeah. As I mentioned, had the 9 for backup. How did it pop out though? Well, there's a 6 ball near the 10. Oh, the 10's just nestled in between a triangle of solids there. It's not all over yet. Henrique's going to need to put in some good positional shots here. Oh, well, that's unfortunate. As I mentioned, he was going to need to put a couple of big shots in there, and I think there was too much big in that. And a rare miscue, as we see our wonderful referee, normally not in the limelight, cleaning the cue ball. Just giving Durk time to have a look at the table, but the clock is running. He is allowed 1 extension per rack. Well, I'm not too sure if he wanted to have the cue ball so close to the 5 here. If he was looking to take the red 3 into the corner pocket, as the 4 into the center, I think the 1 even goes into the center, but it's a trickier part. Coming round 2 angles. How do you like your pace? He's played that very well. Yeah, it looks like he'll be taking the 3 here. If he does, that cue ball, well, the 10 is there. I don't think the 10 will come in to his path of the cue ball, but he is screwing, so maybe it was going to become a nuisance, and he's chosen to hit into it full in the face with a great result. Brave shot. If anything, he's a little bit unfortunate. Would have probably wanted to have been a bit straighter, but oh, well, when I say he wanted to be a bit straighter, I think he knew that needed to punch the cue ball over, because the cue ball would have been trekking towards the 7 with topspin, and that's forced an error. A critical point of the match where Durk would have loved to have had this rack down to get back to 3-3. Henrique may have other ideas. Just needs to be sure of shape to get on this 8 ball. Can just run this through off the long rail. He's popped it, so now he's going to take the closer of the 2 stripes here. And he's finished straight on this 11 ball. Well, with the overhead camera hiding his reaction, I'm sure it wasn't a look of delight. This is now a tricky shot. Maybe he can create an angle. Oh, he has. That is a fantastic shot. Still a tricky one, but great position. and make sure of the 8-ball. And instead of this scoreline coming back to 3-3, he takes a 2-rack lead. And that means he's just won the last 4 in a row. So Durk, with that in mind, I think is taking a little short comfort break. And I don't blame him. A little bit of a run going against him at times, but Henrique taking his chances very well. And what we will do is, looks like Henrique's going to take advantage of this and have a break too. And I'm just going to do a quick update on the scores. We have Peter de Vries trailing 4-1 against Martin Steinlager. And we have Rinos Michaelidis against Bertrand Deloreal, and that's tied at 2-2. We have Mauro Violetto against Antti Välimäki, and Mauro is winning by 4 racks to 2, and we already have a result in. Not hanging around, Miroslav Klemenovic has taken Jako Vieringa by 7 racks to 1. Powerful performance there. And we have Manuel Pereira taking a 2-0 lead against our Dutch contingent, Martijn Vonings, who's been playing well in the other disciplines too. And the last 2 matches, Christoph Nussbaumer is winning 5-0 against Ali Baikara, who'll be looking to get back into that. And Johan Scherntaner, who's trailing by 6 racks to 1 against Rhino Verzbitsky. So I do hope I've not butchered any names there. And that will be all of our matches from the last 16 of this 55 plus senior 8-ball event. If you do want to have a look at any of these scores or on the other 8-ball last 16 matches going on with the ladies and the other seniors 45 plus event, please do visit the epbf.com website, where you can pick up all of the results, the schedule for all disciplines, and you can dig a little deeper into the results as well. And as you are joining us with our live stream on table 2, on our table 1 right now is a ladies last 16 8-ball event, and that's being presented to you by my colleague Aya. However, please do stay here. I fear there is some fireworks to come in this. And another thank out to our sponsors, Simonis Cloth, Aramith Balls, Predator for bringing this event, and also the IBPF. And if I do remember rightly, ProBilliardTV are also streaming, so plenty of places to find these matches. And also, if you have missed a match that was on table 1 or 2, you will be able to go and look them up and watch them back as we await Durk's return to the table. And will also be Durk's break. Still lots more action to come as well. We have 2 more days of action. Lots of last 16 semi-finals and finals. And I don't know if any of you were here yesterday, but there were some absolutely great matches with big swings, and I think the alternate break playing a big role in that, really changing momentum a lot in many of those matches. Joy to watch, joy to commentate. Durk back at the table. Will this be the moment to turn the momentum? I think 5-2 would be a big difference to 4-3. So this crucial rack for Durk here with the break. Well, as you heard, a couple of balls dropping. Everything has stayed down in the bottom half of the table. Does that help or does that hinder Durk? Well, by all accounts, a good break. Does have options. There's a long two if he decides to go solids up the rail. Otherwise, he has a choice of two stripes close to him. Taking the long two. Little gap for the three here. And as you saw from our overhead, that 5 ball passes the 8 into the corner pocket. You would like to think this is a good chance for Durk. He's playing a little bit with fire. Knew he was going to run into the stripes there. Got a gap between the 15 and the cue ball, so he will be stretching over the top, but you fancy him for this. Doesn't need to do too much with the cue ball. Bounce it off the top short rail. Yep. The cue ball is running a little bit quicker than he anticipated. He's asking to slow down. And it didn't slow down enough. And as you can see, he doesn't really have any options here. So he's going to need to put this cue ball somewhere safe. He's having a good look. Just needs to be conscious that he's on the shot clock here. Doesn't want to be forced into playing a quick shot. Well, he laid his cue on the table looking at, I'm not really too sure. You have to excuse me. But what he has done is he's given Henrique another opportunity. This is all he really wanted. He does have a couple of tricky clusters, but a nice opener, so what is he having a look at in there? Has a choice into this corner pocket at the bottom left of our screen. Just a little delicate shot to come onto the 9, but well, has options. As he's looking at now. The brown 15 stripe does go into the center pocket. Just needs to be careful of this 10-13. Will this leave him an angle? He played it in such a way that looked like he was going to be confident he would land on this. So the 10 ball will be moving, ladies and gentlemen. Not that much, as he's played the bank. Didn't see that called, and it wasn't called. Ooh. However, it didn't matter. He's played it in such a fashion that he's left Durk in a very tricky situation. He cannot see a direct route through to this 7 ball. And he's missed it. Using the rest is a difficult shot, especially with the rest. You can get a bit of unwanted side, and he's missed the 7, and Henrique reaping rewards from that shot. I was a bit confused there. I thought he'd called the bank, or rather he hadn't called the bank, but had. but it wasn't. It was a safety. And it looks like it might pay dividends. Is he going to play this to try and open the 8 a little? No. He's keeping it tight, not doing too much with the cue ball. Probably feels he gets shape off the 10 for that 8, which looks like it only has one pocket, which is the bottom left corner as we're looking at it. So a tight pattern here for Henrique, but a very useful rack to win. Oh, as you can see, the 8 does go in the center, but he's hit the 7 as well, and the 7 has come in to cover the 8. Second time that has happened to him in this match. Where the cue ball is. No. He's calling it. It looked like in the center. And he has missed the 8 ball. Yeah, I think he was calling to glance off of it and put it towards that center pocket in the right center as we're looking at the table. However, that was a tricky situation he put himself in. And Durk back to the table. And as I alluded to earlier, the difference between 5-2 and 4-3 on a race to 7 is massive. So, not too much to do off this 7. Bit of a steal. And Germany's Durk Schwieders bringing it back. Now just trails 3 racks to 4. But Portugal's Henrique Correa had a run of 4 racks in a row. So we know what is capable by both players here. Will it remain tight from this point on? Will Durk get it back to level? Well, the alternate break means that Henrique has the opportunity to put the first say on that. Maybe just a little bit of debris on the table. He was just taken off with his hand there. Not completely happy. And Henrique Correa leading 4 racks to 3, breaking in this race to 7. Better cue ball. Did get a nudge towards the middle pocket. However, it's a dry break. And Durk is at the table with not too many options. It looks like he's going to have to go stripes here. He has both the blue 10 into the center and the 11 into the top left. And if he wanted to go solids, he would have really liked this 5 ball to trace down the cushion into the corner pocket. So looks like he's going to have a good surveillance of the stripes here. And as you can see, there's a 2-9 cluster. And the 7 and the 15 are not locked too far apart either. So makes that nicely. Does have a small angle on the 12 here if he wanted to develop the 9. However, maybe a bit too ambitious and or unnecessary. Well, he did exactly that, but missed the pot. He has locked the cue ball against the 6 there. However, I don't think that's enough. It does look like Henrique has a shot at options. Eyeing up the 2 in the centre. Well, I think that was the right shot from Durk. He had the 14, the green stripe, into the centre pocket as backup if the cue ball did not behave, which it looked like it didn't do so much. However, you've got to make the pot, and Henrique, at his first opportunity, has gone into the cluster there and opened up the 7 very nicely. Ooh, he was moving around the table rather quickly there. Is that a little bop in his step? Doesn't seem to be phased by Durk bringing back the scoreline to 4-3. Yeah, the cue ball's running. The cue ball was running, and I'm not too sure if he wanted to have that 4 as his next shot. If he did, I don't think it's on. Didn't hear a pocket called. Ooh, nice cut down the rail. And has the 4 in prime position. Just checking if that 3 passes into the centre pocket. And if it does, he doesn't need to do too much with the 4 here. As long as he's not overrun too much, he'll be happy with the result. And it is looking good for him in this rack. Yeah. Quite straight on this 7, so we'll be just looking to make a stop shot and maybe play the long 8, unless he feels he can screw it back a bit more. He can. Leaves nice shape into the centre pocket. He may have a bop in his step. Ooh, makes it very well and takes back a 2-rack lead. And it does look like in the last few shots there, Henrique is speeding up a bit and got a little pep in the walk. That can't be a good sign for Durk. So Durk has a chance to show that he's still got a little bop in the step as well. It's his break. Scoreline been updated 5-3. He's going to want to do something soon though. Not let Henrique get on the hill at this opportunity. As I said, we're in the last 16, so it's sudden death. There's no losers around here. I'm just checking. We do have another player into the quarterfinals, Rhino Verzbitsky. So, heating up in the last 16. Durk Schwieders to break, trailing by 5 racks to 3. While the cue ball was running around, not towards a pocket this time. Well, I didn't hear anything drop, and I can see Henrique stepping back to the table, so a try break. A lot of spread on the balls, but that cue ball has locked up against the 15. Well, our left-handed Portuguese man stretching over. Might make it a bit easier for him, this shot. Played it well. Gone solids. We'll have a little look at what's going on in the middle of the table there. Well, 7 seems to be open for a few pockets, and so from this angle is the 1. And if that is the case, and if Henrique can... He's going for the thin cut on the 6. Made it look easy. However, we were just talking about that 1 ball, and he has nudged it up against an opponent's ball and has taken down his options for it. So if he's going to complete at this visit, he's going to need to open that up. And I think he felt he couldn't. So elected to play safe and has put the cue ball up against this cushion, which is the best he could have done in that position. Left a long tempter for Durk, as we saw earlier in this match. He won't turn these down, especially if he feels he can get a good cue ball. So long shot on the 12. Makes it look easy. Good shape here. Might need to open up his 12. Will he do it here? Oh, it's exactly what he was going for, and I have to say, that's exactly the outcome he would have wanted as well. So, is this the pep in the walk we were alluding to at the beginning of this rack? Doesn't look like he's got the whole pocket. He just had a second look to check. And he's moved a few balls. I think he's blocking, as you can see from this angle, the shape on the 14. And if he has, well, is he looking at the thin cut on the 10? If it doesn't pass the 8, it might be the time to do it. Yep, had the cue ball traveling. It's run into the 15 there. But it's run into it with enough pace. Then he's got distance. And he's got a good sight of it up into the corner pocket. Well, from this angle, he's going to be moving the 11 ball. So maybe still a little bit more action left in this. Yeah, always a danger when you know you're going to be connecting with another ball. Sometimes a little bit of focus off the shot. Henrique out of his chair like a whippet, so recognizes this could be the time. Durk did get it back to a 1-frame deficit after leading 2-0. But from there, Henrique seemed to have stepped it up a little bit. And as he flicks the cue ball off the long rail for this 4, doesn't look like a very difficult pattern for him to close out. And this would be to take him to the hill. Well, Henrique Correa takes the hill with a 7-3 lead. With a 6-3 lead, and he will have the break. I'm sure when he got out of bed this morning, he would have taken this. And by all accounts, both players getting back into the break a little bit. So, when we see Durk back at the table in this 8-ball event, Henrique Correa leads by 6 racks to 3. Well, the cue ball was moving and didn't go and threaten the pocket, but neither did an object ball. And I asked, will Durk get back to the table? Well, there's the answer. And Henrique got a great spread of the balls. Well, this is your chance, Durk Schwieders. He's just come up this end of his table with the extension. Maybe fancies stripes. And from this position, it does look like stripes would be the better option. And that would mean maybe he was looking at the long 11 from here into the corner pocket. Might be electing to go a different route now. But with where that 4 ball is up against the cushion, that will sway his decision towards stripes, I feel. Well, he's played that lovely. He's played it with a lot of stun to avoid the 2, and he's come round his 14 ball, leaving it in a good position for this corner at the bottom of the screen. May want to take out at least 2 of these balls down here, depending on if he wants to use this 12 as his key ball for the 8. As right now the 8 only has 1 corner pocket, but maybe that will be this corner pocket that we're looking at now. So may choose to clear both of these 2 balls out. He's come up for these 3 stripes at the top of the table. Good opportunity here for Durk. Just needs to keep his composure. Will need Henrique to make another mistake in this match if he were to progress through this rack. But they're the questions we like to ask of our opponents, so little angle on this to pop it out for the 11 stripe. Oh, and that's the unforced error that can lose you matches, I'm afraid. Did the hard work by all accounts. Will that be a story of this match, though? Less traffic for Henrique to consider. Little cluster with the 1 and the 2 there. Looking like he's going to solve that straight away. And we'll see how tricky this 4 proves. Just a gentle screw back, taking an angle on the 1 into the same pocket. Cue ball running down for the 6 or the 7. How was the weight? Well, just a little bit further than ideal, you fear, but not a problem from Henrique here. Doesn't need to do too much. In fact, he's elected to try and move the 4 and did do a little bit too much. Missed the pot. So he did think the 4 was a little bit too much of an ask and found himself in a position to move it, but didn't make either the ball or the contact on the 4. Durk's back at the table. And he's got a nice look at this. He's hit it thick. He's hit it thick. And has it bounced out the pocket enough to leave something on the 6 for Henrique? He won't find out now because he's covered it with... Durk's covered it with his 11 ball. But that's 2 mistakes in a row, and at this level, you expect your opponent to take full advantage of it. Wow, great shot. Stunned back to dislodge the 4 off the cushion, which he's done to great effect. Does make it a nicer shot, especially if he's going to need to use it for position on the 8. So that's 7 deep in the jaws. Plays cushion first. Now, as you can see from this angle, this is very tight. So tight, in fact, I think he may even have to play this 6 off the cushion first to contact into the stripe and therefore into the corner pocket. It's tight. Oh, it went clean as a whistle. And as a Brucey bonus, he's got a nice angle on this 4 to come over across the table as the 8 is blocked into that corner pocket on the left-hand side. He's just pushed the cue ball through. And Henrique Correa takes this match 7 racks to 3. And by all accounts, played the better of the 2. I think Durk just gave up a few too many chances at the end of that. But please stay tuned. We will be having more of the 8-ball action coming. Next will be quarterfinals. We have both the women's, the 45-plus seniors, and the 55-plus seniors. And matches will be coming up in due course for you. And just to give you a little update as to the look of these quarterfinals, the players already through in this discipline, or division rather, is Henrique Correa, as we've just seen, Miroslav Kremonovic, and already decided a matchup between Christoph Nausbaumer and Rainer Wierzbicki. I'd like to thank you all for joining us. My name is Gethin Davis, and I'll be back here on table 2 very shortly at 1:15. Thank you very much. Well, a warm welcome to everyone joining us for this European Predator Championships here in Assen, Netherlands. You're joining us for day 7 of this 9-ball event. Quarterfinals of the men's 55 plus seniors between Christoph Nussbaumer and Rainer Wierzbicki. And Rhino winning the break in this alternate break format, race to 7. Going to have us a great game. Both players having tough last 16 matches to get to this point, find themselves on the TV table. We do have another table streamed to you live as well. And if you want to keep up to date with the scores, please do visit the EPBF website, where you will find not only the senior men's, you'll also find the ladies, which is also going on at the same time here, also in the last quarterfinals of their 8-ball discipline. There's a lot of action in Assen today. So Christoph getting us off with the first break. Good cue ball, but a dry break. And this will give us a quick look at Rhino, who for me is the first time I've seen him on the TV table. So be interesting to see how he gets to grips with perhaps a few extra lights and some cameras moving around. He's not got an easy opener, should we say, but he has options, and he's calling the 10 up in the top right. Played it well. Good pocket speed. Does have a little cluster with his 12 ball. Looks like it's against the 5 there in the center of the table. Not needing to do too much with the cue ball. A nice opener for him. Well, he's screwed in, electing to rub the 8-ball, and that's worked out rather nicely if he's got shape on that 15 there. And I'm not too sure if the pink 12 passes the 5 up into the corner pocket where he was just looking there. So a little bit more work for Rhino to do here if he's looking to take an early break off Christoph's opener. He's got to be a bit cautious here. Maybe taking a bit of the 2. If he misses it, he could open up the 12. No, elected to run thick into it. Now, unfortunately, he hasn't got shape on that 11. The 6 is in the way, so yeah. Looks now like that 12 will pass. But was always going to be tough on getting shape for the 10 and, sorry, the 11, and has scratched in the process. Did look like he was digging himself a deeper hole with every pot. Couldn't get the cue ball back under his control, and now we see Luxembourg's Christoph Nussbaumer with ball in hand and not too much traffic in the way, which is not the usual with 8-ball. So starts off with the 6. Maybe looking to clear a bit of traffic out at this end. Awkward cueing though. Running very close to these balls. Roll past them. Oh, and does have shape on the blue too. Well, he rubbed the 5 there, which threw the 1 ball up towards the cue ball up towards the 1. And I don't think he can pot that now, so maybe forced to consider this 5 into the centre, and this is a tricky shot. Oh, it was a tricky shot, and he had difficult cueing as well. And the 5 ball on these tightly cut predator tables did not drop. It has, however, come out as a sort of second prize for Christoph in covering Rhino from this 11 ball, and we could be going airborne. Good position for the cue ball for a jump shot. Made good contact. Did not make the pot. So as you can see, it looks like he's going to have to take the 3 first, and this is a little tester. Down the heart of the pocket. Let's pop the cue ball over. Does have shape on the 7, but we'll be reaching a bit. Yeah, just taking care of not nudging his 1 ball. Hit it with a fair amount of pace, knowing he has the 1 up here. Didn't want to be so close against the cushion, I'm sure. Yeah, just a right shake of the head. However, doesn't need to do too much. Could elect with a bit of topspin to push it round 2 rails. Yeah. Oh, went rail first. Similar effect. And doesn't need to do too much with the cue ball. Anywhere around where the object ball is, or a little bit to the left of it, would leave him a relatively straight shot on the 8. So just needs to make sure of the pot. Already rattled it in this pocket. Made sure of it this time though. And as I alluded to, a relatively straight shot on the 8. And to hold his break. Wasn't a break and run. Rhino did get a good look, but Christoph still had a bit of work to do there, and does it handsomely to take a 1 rack lead, as I did mention, alternate break. So we'll get to see Rhino at the short rail for the first time with the break stick in his hand. As I mentioned at the opening of the match, we do have both the 45 senior men's plus senior men's and the 55 plus senior men's and the ladies happening at this very moment in the arena. Action at all the tables in the quarterfinal stages. We'll be streaming these last 3 days to you solidly with lots of quarterfinal, semi-final and final action. And the one area that I did like already was the team event. Really good to see the camaraderie between the players as we get to witness Rhino Vertskbitsky from Germany, his first break. Makes a ball in the center pocket. Good cue ball. and certainly a good look at an easy solid in the pink 4. Has options with the solids. A trickier opener if he wants to go stripes. 6 in a little testy position there, close to the middle pocket. A bit closer to the rail than he'd like. So I think if the 15 doesn't pass the 7, that will make his mind up a little bit easier for going solids. He needs to stay away from that 9 ball. He has. Always got that 6 ball in the back of his mind there. Yeah, he's just coming around to have another look at it now. He certainly could pick off the 3 and 7 here, as he left a nice angle from the 7. Would like to get in between the centre pocket and the 11 if he wants to come over for the 6. As you can see from that camera angle, the 1 does pass the 10. How do you like that? If anything came in a bit hard, does have the 1 here as backup, and does have angle to bring the cue ball back across. So, although he's not out the woods, he certainly does have a good look at the finish line. Yep, doesn't need that 11 to come into play. It hasn't. It's got a decent bounce there. Now, does he have the option of coming off the blue 2 behind the stripe? Well, he's not giving as much away. I think he's going to be forced into playing this, and he's got a bit of trouble with that 11 ball, which he's managed to miss both times, or rather not get in the way of his next shot the last 2 occasions. And would the 8 have passed the 10 anyway? He's come out quite wide. If anything, wide enough to leave a nice look at a bank on the 6, which he's called. Cue ball's going to be running around 3 angles here. Will the 12 get in the way? Needs to make the pot. He's made the pot. Well, he did come into the 12 in not the fashion I expected, and he's come out looking quite nice for this 8 ball. Breaking just off centre. Oh, that's much better than his previous break. Good control of the cue ball. Good spread of the balls. Maybe a little bit of difficulty in a couple of patches. However, where he's left the cue ball, he's got options. as you look from here, does the 9 pass the 5? If it does, he may fancy these stripes. It looks like he's going for the 15. Okay, so stripes away. The 9 may pass. If the 12 passes, he will be a happy man. So, a good look for Christoph here. Well, he just came around to have a look at that 12. Didn't take long to look at it, so maybe you can just run through a little bit. Yeah, made sure of the pot as well. He has a look at this now. Oh, it's tight, but it goes. However, can he thread the cue ball through that gap and back up again? He has avoided the 3 nicely, but in avoiding the 3, he hasn't come far enough, so it will be the 9. Needs to be careful here because another tight shot, but needs to be careful here with the 3 where it is. Lovely shot, played it in such a way into the center of the table where he left himself every chance. However, not sure how tall Christoph is, but this looks like it's going to be a bit of a stretch for him. Ooh, a little raise of the hand and a tap of the cue. Rider's luck, wipes its feet, makes the pot, and confidently runs out. And that's what you need to be doing, and this is what we're expecting of these players at this level. Small margins for error. Christoph looking like he's got hold of the break. Alternate break. Something that we've noticed throughout the 8-ball here with the alternate break is that momentum tends to not sit too long with the player who's running in form. So it just gives Rhino a better chance of shifting that momentum. However, early days, Christoph with a 2 racks to 1 lead, Rhino to break. I don't know if you notice, he positions his cue ball just a little bit off center more than Christoph. And he's bringing the cue ball back up the center of the table, really avoiding any pockets. And he's made a couple off the break here. God, look tight from here. Makes it nicely. And these stripes are sitting in a lovely position. If anything, the solids have decided to stay out the way of this one. And will this turn out to be a great break? Looks like he can just run through here and take the 9 or the 10. Maybe wants the 9 for his key ball, so electing to go a different route. Yep. Landed straight. I think we will see him looking just to leave a little angle for this 10 ball now. He has completely ignored what I've said by the looks of it. I thought he was going for the 9 there. The cueing is a little bit more difficult for the 10 with all them balls in the way. He'll be reaching over them, so just looking to bring the cue ball back from this 10. However, he's proved me wrong a few times. He might have something else in mind. He's played that very well. And this has got the look of 2 break-in runs in a row. Is the action heating up so hot? It is indeed. These gentlemen are trading blows. Brings the score back to 2-2. As I mentioned, 2 break-in runs. I think both these players will want to be keeping this up. It's already got the makings of a thriller. Rhino looks very relaxed in his chair. I don't know if you noticed before his break, he just slid the cue ball across the table with his cue, looking very confident. Backed it up with a break and run. So Christoph looking to recreate what he did in his last rack where he broke. Yep. Both players making good balls in the centre bag. Just the one this time for Christoph. Cue ball's coming a little bit down towards the cushion. However, there's a good looking red 3 into the middle pocket. There is a little cluster of stripes as well up by the opposite centre pocket, which maybe you would want to stay away from, so may see him going for solids here. He's going for the 1 ball, centre pocket. Oh, he took a little bit of extra time down on the ball there. That was a tough shot, sneaky. These Predator tables are very tight. Now, has taken the 1, opened up his pattern here. Balls will be moving here after the 4. He's hit it soft and has the option of the 6 or 2. Oh, a lot of action. A little toot from the lips there. I don't think it's done too much damage. Ooh. That's a delicate touch to come round for the 5 here. As you can see, the 12 was blocking that 5 into the corner pocket. We saw him with a lovely opener on the 1 ball into the same middle pocket, so certainly feels like his eye's in. As we see a shrug of the shoulders. Important pot, this. Yeah, with a good chunk of inside English to hold it out for the 7. He's played that really well. I don't know if you heard in the background a call from the referee of time. Always has a little bit of pressure to the shot. So, needs to pick a pocket for the 8. Looks like it passes the 15 down here into the pocket where his hand is now. So could push the cue ball around towards the left-hand side of the table. Well, he's got a big wide bounce. Looked like he put a bit of unwanted left-hand side on that. If it passes in the middle, no. He's certainly taking a good look at this corner pocket. Has to be a bit careful of the cue ball. Yeah, it's called an extension. If the 8 ball goes in the middle, I actually fancy him having a go at the middle pocket. No, it looks like he can also avoid the centre pocket going for the corner. It looks like he's making a decision one way or the other. Oh, slides it past. Lovely shot by Christoph Nussbaumer there. Brings him back into the lead again. Always had his neck out after winning the lag. But that was another solid performance from Christoph there. And the longer you can keep Rhino in the seat, the better the chance you have of getting a little bit further in the lead. But as we're watching from both players, great performances, both of them break and running from fun. And if it carries on like that, it will be the battle of who won the lag. And so far, we're being blessed. Well, Rhino trailing by 3 racks to 2. Breaking our 6th rack, race to 7. Well, the cue ball took a couple of nudges, but none of it proving any danger, and he's made one in the centre pocket. A very good spread of the balls, and from this angle, it looks like not much is in a tricky position. Looks like Rhino's having a look at the solids here. I think the 4 would prove his... Well, from this angle, maybe the 4 would be the fruitiest shot for him if he were to go solids, but there may be other ways of approaching that problem. Yeah, puts the 6 in the centre pocket, freezes the cue ball by contacting the pink 12 full in the face. He's just scratching his head, looking at the 4 again and the 5. They're not in the nicest of positions. I think the 4 is probably a bit easier of the 2, with it being a bit lower from the 10. So, conscious of the time, it's going to take the 2 ball here. Held it for the 3 by the looks of it. Does he have anything off the 1 ball for the 5? Yeah, he's just having a look now. Well, Well, taking the 5 now. Better of the options. Bit of a reach for this. It's coming over the side of the 14. Oh, can get it full cue ball. Played it quite delicately, stunning the cue ball over, and now he's just looking at the line for the 4, and he needs to be high on this 4 to have the best chance of getting back out for the 7. So probably the key shot here, and the cue ball's coming down. It's coming down quite nice, but I don't think, oh, maybe straight enough to screw back for the 7. Very nicely done. Well, unless he's done some damage to himself there by putting the 10 against the 8, we're on the cusp of another break and run. But you can see there, that 8 looks like it's in trouble. Is he going to try and run into it a bit, or is he going to play it off the 11? Or is he got better eyesight than me? Ooh, great view from the overhead. He could pot it clean as a whistle. And a deep breath from Rhino there, but he played that really well. And I take my hat off to him there. Did look like he put himself in a bit of trouble, and his body language indicated that a little bit as well, but not a problem for our German. Christoph finding himself in the familiar place of neck and neck at 3-3. So far, he's taken each opportunity to get back out in the lead, so he'll be looking to do the same again. However, both players breaking and running for fun, it seems, at the moment. And if this is the level we can expect at the quarterfinals, can you imagine? So, closer into the center line, Christoph Nussbaumer at 3-3 to break. Oh, that cue ball he had frozen on a dime. It's taken a couple of nudges. However, this time, he's not made a ball off the break. And this is the first real swing we've seen in the last 4 racks. And it's come from a dry break. What has Rhino got in front of him here? A cluster of 3 balls up towards the corner where Christoph sat. And not a real look at anything else. Maybe the 10 down the cushion, however, looks like he's hampered by the 8, so... I'm sure that's all he's mustered right now. Okay, he's made a call. I didn't quite pick it up on the mic, sorry. He's called a 10. He caught it a bit thick, but played it at a beautiful pace. And that's not a bad opener, you have to say. The 11 comes down here near the 8. He just needs to tackle this little cluster here. Doesn't have to do it now. Can pick off a few balls around the center of the table if he wants to. Well, first real opportunity for either player to break against their opponent. Was Rhino looking at the chance to come and pick off the 11 now? No. Maybe won't do it now either. He's just come the wrong side of the 15 here. Maybe forced to have to do what he needs to do up in the top corner with the cluster of 3 balls next to the 1 ball there. Ah. Yep. Well, where he had his cue is where he's put the cue ball, and as nonchalant as he looked after walking away to take that last shot, it looks like he's got exactly what he's wanted. Is he going to play a carom off the 14? Oh, he's played it gently and he's made it very well. However, well, he is straight as a die on this 14. Now, I'm not too sure what sort of magic Rhino can make here. He's looking to see if he can see the, or rather where he can see the 11 from. Referee call time. Oh, and looking to get that cue ball off the cushion. Rhino's missed the pot. The cue ball is sitting rather close to the 1 ball though, limiting Christoph's options. So could have come out a bit worse there, Rhino. And Christoph Nussbaumer from Luxembourg has not really got the most obvious of starters, and maybe he's called the combination onto the 4 centre pocket. This would be an amazing shot. He hasn't. It looked like he tried to play it in such a way that he would cover this 14. But not a bad effort. And if he has blocked this 14, which it doesn't appear he has, then he could have put Rhino in an even more difficult predicament. However, Rhino has played that shot probably the best he could. And if anything, he's going to want to pot this dead weight if he's looking at putting the 8 ball in the middle pocket. Otherwise, he's hitting this a little bit harder, and that corner pocket starts to loom a little bit more. He's played it softly, used the 2 as a great cushion. I may even have the choice of 2 pockets here, but I fancy that centre pocket. This will be a little early upset in our match. Oh, and he's hit the front knuckle. It was not an easy shot at all into either pocket. He's played it with the cue ball to nestle down on that bulk short rail. So now Christoph likely looking to return this with a snooker using the 7. There may have been an edge that has crept out there, you know, and an edge might be all Rhino needs for the cross bank, and this not only would be a fantastic shot, but would really upset the apple cart there, because there was a lot of traffic for Christoph to snooker Rhino. As it is, Rhino's missed the cross bank. The 8 balls landed quite close to the top right corner, so Christoph in a bit of an easier position here than he has been in earlier opportunities. Yeah, played that nicely to come round for the 6 and the 5. Yeah, shake of the head. I don't think he wanted the cue ball there. I think he wanted to screw it back a couple more rolls. However, still got good options. Just needs to decide which ball he's going to pot last. I fancy the long one down the rail, unless he can come round onto the 3. First, he's got to get there. And he's got a good bounce off the cushion. Maybe good enough to take this one now. Oh, he asked too much of that from our Predator tables. As you saw, the one ball hit the cushion quite short. Hasn't gone in. Covered the 8. Perhaps. No, it hasn't. And yeah, maybe the mistake earlier with the safety from Christoph there cost him that. Rhino will be tickle pink. He takes the lead, I believe, for the first time in the match against Christoph's break. Our run of break and runs has come to an end, but that was exciting. Not a bad way to try and shift the momentum, Rhino. So, halfway through this match, Rhino to break, leading by 4 racks to 3, race to 7. It's definitely heating up. Well, he's made one in the centre pocket. Quite a delicate 8-ball break by all accounts. To full effect. 7 sitting over the pocket if he wants to go solids. Maybe that 7 is putting off an option for the stripes. And if anything, the stripes look the more difficult run out. So he picks off the 7 early and has options all over the place. Not a bad look in for Rhino here. Well, it's difficult to see a real troubling pot. As you see from this angle, as the 6 can't go to the corner, he may want to take the 6 now. If he can avoid getting that cue ball in any trouble. Yep. A good chunk of screw back. And after this 4 ball, he just has 3 remaining solids, all wrapped around centre pockets. Ooh, probably wanted to be the other side of this 3 if he was going to go the 3. May decide to go a different route. He's not giving much away. He had a good look at the 1. Maybe just looking at taking this 1 and then making shape off the 5 for the long 3. And he's done just that. A good stop shot on this 5 now. Is able to screw it past. Even better. Well, Germany's Rhino Verbitsky has broken run again and is looking formidable. And if not for one mistake from Christoph either, these players could have still been level. However, that's not the case. Rhino Verbitsky finds himself with a 5-3 lead, the first time we've seen a 2-rack sway in this match. Asking a few more questions of Christoph. But that was a great clearance. As we see Rhino just wiping his hands down there, clearly feeling the tension out there. Sudden death quarterfinals. So one of these players will be going home from the 8-ball. However, they may still be in one of the other disciplines. We've been blessed to teams 8, 9 and 10. And straight. Well, Christoph has made his second dry break in a row. And as we've seen so far, Rhino has not given him an inch. Did get a good spread of the balls. The 11 ball did look threatening into the corner pocket, but didn't have the pace to go in. Both players playing a little bit softer on the break, you feel. With the tap table, it's playing very, very true, and both players confident of making balls in the centre bag. So the downside is, with the balls aren't running around enough to make a pocket sometimes if you don't make that. So Rhino finds himself back at the table. And this would be a crucial blow to Christoph. As you can see from the overhead, that's a little tricky shot for him to get through onto the red 10. He's got an awful reach here to get for this thin cut on the 15. Wants to miss the 4. Has missed the 4. Now, with a quick view, if that 14 doesn't pass into the centre pocket, Rhino could have a little bit of difficulty coming up, but that doesn't appear to be of his concern right now. He's just run into the 10 ball there. Not sure if that was part of the plan or not, but he does have an angle on this 11, or rather the stripe next to the corner pocket. He may be able to flick this round 2 angles up and use the 6. Oh, he has. He's kicked and stick the 6, but the 6 has gone over towards the 10. Oh, and the 10 might not pass the 1 ball into that corner. So, Rhino not out of the woods yet, but that was a great shot. Good vision. Yeah, another reachy shot for him here. Just got the call of time. Doesn't need to rush this. Oh, and he's come out of that a little bit better. In the sense that he's not the 10 ball out, but this 14 needs to go. I think he fancies that 14 going in the corner pocket, ladies and gentlemen. He's got to go through a very fine gap. Oh, he's made it. It looks like he's leaving himself an angle for the center pocket. If he is, he may hit this 2 ball, and then we'll be putting a little bit of luck to it. Oh, he's digging into the cue ball. He's dug in to miss the 2 ball, which he's done really well, and that cue ball's released up to leave him straight on the 8. That is a great shot, and right down the line of Christoph's eye line. You may not be able to see the pot, but you'll have seen how straight Rhino was left there. And what a swing we've seen, ladies and gentlemen. But we were neck and neck, and they were trading blows with break and runs, and 2 mistaken breaks from Christoph, and Rhino has pounced. Truly a great performance so far. We'll be looking to keep this up, because he now is breaking on the hill to take this quarterfinal match and get through into the semi-finals. I'm just having a quick look to see if there's any names in there so far. He would be the first to get through. Christoph hoping that he gets back to the table. Rhino cleaning his break cue, probably not realizing that there's no ref to set the balls up. It's rack your own. But all in all, there wasn't much to pick between either of these players. Luxembourg Christoph Nussbaumer started off the break and runs at 2-2, I believe. Went 2, 2, 3, 2, 3, 3, and then one small mistake, and the momentum shifted, and a dry break later. So, Rhino Vertsbitsky with his first chance at closing out this match. 6-3 lead, race to 7. Oh, you saw the 6 ball creep in the center pocket there. Cue ball. Staying out of trouble. And this is what you would be asking for. So, Christoph resigned to the chair until a mistake happens. And Rhino not giving much away so far. So, are these ominous signs? Well, there's such a good spread of the balls. There really aren't any problems for either solids or stripes. Rhino's gone solids. He's probably just sped up a little bit. I'm not too sure if that's a little bit of excitement. But you just have to be a bit wary. Maybe he just doesn't want to bring the shot clock into it. However, he's still at the table. Nice look at this 7. Oh, he's played that gently. Beautiful shot. Decided he was going to hold for this 1 ball. As you can see from this angle, there's a bit of traffic with the 9 and the 11 there, so needs to be particular. Yep, comes up high enough. And high enough to leave a rather simple shot on this 3 ball. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to see our first semi-finalist. Calls the centre pocket. Well, Germany's Rhino takes out this match in a relatively simple fashion at the end by 7 racks to 3. However, he wasn't getting it his own way up until the 6th, 7th rack. And as I mentioned, he's the first of our semi-finalists. Just to give you a quick update on our other tables for this men's 55 plus, we have Martin Steinlacher, who's up 3-1 against Henrique Correa, who played on this TV table just a match ago. And we have Mauro Violetto leading 2 racks to 0 against Bertrand Deloriol. That looks like it's a hard-fought match. And we have on the remaining quarterfinal table, Manuel Pereira, who's 4-1 up against Miroslav Kremenovic. So please keep an eye on the scores on the EPBF website, and we will be returning back for action at, let me just double check now. We will be coming back for action rather shortly at, well, as soon as we can, I believe. I'll get back to you on that, but thanks ever so much, and I'd like to extend another well done out to Rainer Wierzbicki. Please stay tuned.